Hey guys, it's Layla from Ignite. If you like my content in today's video, please do subscribe to our channel, click the bell for notifications, and comment if you'd like anything for us to get back to you on. In today's video, I'm going to do an overview of how to analyze film. And in order to do that, I'm going to take you through my 5 go-to techniques whenever you're looking at film, and hopefully this will help you navigate what I think is quite a difficult form to unpack because it's unlike any other written text that you address in your preliminary or HSC studies. So, my 5 bits of advice in terms of analysing film is to consider the following key aspects of filmic or cinematic construction. The first one is to take a look at the shot angle that is being used. The second is consider the duration of that shot. Then you might like to break down the mise-en-scene of the particular scene that you're looking at. Consider whether there is any symbolism or metonymy within that scene. And then finally, consider sounds, the diegetic or the non-diegetic sounds that are being used. And if that sound has a particular continued significance throughout the film, you might consider whether that's a leitmotif. So I'm going to go through each of these in more detail. I'm going to give some examples to show you and illustrate how they come into play within film, and hopefully you guys find it useful and you're a bit more confident whenever you're addressing cinematic form in coming texts. So, shot angles. There are 5 that you should really know that are typically going to come into relevance when you're doing your studies. The first one is a close range shot, when we're looking quite closely at a particular object or person within the scene, and it gives us an intimate insight to their emotions or the key aspects of the particular scene that's being conveyed. We may have a mid-range shot, which is establishing in this particular shot the conversation between these 2 characters. It's not as close as the image to the left, but it's mid-range. We get, half of their body, we get an image of them communicating, and it's close enough to build a sense of intimacy, but it's not as confronting as the image here. Then we have a bird's eye shot conveyed from the top of an image looking down, has the effect of establishing what's going on between certain characters. We can have an extreme close range shot, so you can see there's a slight difference between this image and this one here, which is even more intimate in terms of conveying the very close range emotions of a particular character and getting an insight to their psyche at certain moments in the film. Or we may have a broader range shot, so you can see it's slightly different to the mid-range shot over here, and it's establishing the setting and the position of the characters within that setting to a much broader extent than what's happening in this image over here. So shot angle. When you're doing your actual analysis, it's quite nice to start off your sentence with the shot angle that's being used. So you may say something such as, within the close range shot, the composer's use of lighting, or within the broad range shot, the mise-en-scene features. It's a nice way to start off your sentence and then move into your analysis. Okay, so that's your shot angle. The next thing to consider is the duration of the shot. Now, duration refers to how long we have a particular image before there is a change or a cut. So every time there is a change in camera angle or a focus, that is a shot change, and that implicates the duration of that particular shot. So I've got here a little contrast in particular sequences in film. This shot here is taken from Bourne Legacy, an action sequence. Typically when you've got higher pace films where there's something high intensity, we'll have lots of cuts happening within the particular sequence. It heightens the tension and it may enhance action as it does in Bourne Legacy. Whenever we have less frequent cuts and a longer duration to the shot, that may have the effect of calming down the audience or focalizing the emotions of characters. So it's important to consider, yes, what is the actual shot angle that's being used, then consider the duration of the shot and how that may implicate the tone of the particular sequence. Duration is almost like the syntax in a particular written text, right? How long are the clauses? How many clauses do we have within a sentence? Duration is almost like a cinematic equivalent of that particular technique. All right, then we may consider mise-en-scene. Mise-en-scene literally translates to the composition of everything within the frame. Frame is the right technical term to use for the border of an image. Now, mise-en-scene is kind of like an umbrella term, and there are different aspects of cinematic form which sit within mise-en-scene. Some of these aspects include the setting, so where are we actually placed within the film and what's the significance of that. Consider the lighting, typically what's illuminated within the shot is a focal point. If you want to consider what is salient within the frame, what the focal point is, lighting may also come into that. And another aspect of lighting, a subpoint within it, is also chiaroscuro. If you have a stark contrast between lightness and darkness within the frame, that is referred to as chiaroscuro. So these are all within the mise-en-scene. You might consider the costuming, so what characters are wearing and how that informs our understanding of the context of the film or the mood that is being conveyed of that particular scene. And you might like to also consider props that are being used within the setting. So if you have a look at this particular shot, by the way, these images are from a really great film called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and the director is Spike Jonze. And in this particular shot here, the film is very, very postmodern, and it plays around with the construction of meaning, and it really challenges a sense of linear progression from the audience perspective. And this very postmodern shot, we can see a bed is being inserted onto the beach, and the effect of that is it plays around with the very non-literal meanings that are conveyed. It's almost like a dream interpretation in this sequence. But nonetheless, key aspects of mise-en-scene are the purity, the lightness of the beach, how being within the natural environment informs and reflects the relationship between the characters. The bed is typically an intimate setting, and yet it's juxtaposed against the openness of the natural environment. All of these points that I'm mentioning are part of the mise-en-scene by way of example. Okay, so mise-en-scene is a useful aspect of form to consider whenever you're looking at film. All right. Then once you've kind of broken down, you start with the shot, all right, consider the duration of the shots, how does that inform tone, consider the mise-en-scene. You may then like to go a bit deeper and start to think about any symbolic values we can construe from the film or any metonymic values. So by symbolism, we mean what could the lighting symbolize within a particular scene? Is there an object which holds symbolic value, or is it potentially metonymic for an idea? Metonymy is when a word closely, or an object closely associated with another word, is used to substitute that other word. For example, if you look at a crucifix or a cross, that's typically a metonym for religion more broadly. So metonymy is slightly different to symbolism in that way. It's more literal, we could argue, than symbolism. But within this particular shot, we've got the bird's eye view, we've got the characters in eye contact, and then you've got this salient crack in the ice over here. Now, the film does trace a problematic relationship between these two characters, so one could argue within the context of the film, the crack here foregrounds or symbolizes the cracks in their relationship. In terms of mise-en-scene, we can consider the composition of the shot. One could argue that their placement just right of the crack perhaps foregrounds their ability to navigate the relationship and scoot beyond the cracks in that relationship to make this relationship survive. Anyway, that's a bit of an example of how you can construe symbolic meanings or metonymic meanings within the text. So that's when you're moving beyond the simple shot angles, what they convey, the duration, and we're starting to go a little bit deeper in terms of the analysis that you are performing in the text. Okay, and finally, we'd like to consider sound. Now, it's important whenever you're looking at film to not pay too much attention to the dialogue between the characters. We're not analysing the screenplay, we're analysing the film. So it's more important for you to consider the actual visual construction of the text. However, if you are going to consider sound, we need to consider the importance of diegetic versus non-diegetic sounds within the film. So diegetic sounds are sounds that come from within the frame. So if someone were filming us, well, I am being filmed in a meta-sense right now, a diegetic sound is my actual voice that is doing the talking. If we were to play music in the background, that would be non-diegetic, and it may contribute or alter the tone that's being conveyed in the film in some way. Leitmotifs are the repetition of certain sounds within the film that hold symbolic value. I'd like to give you a classic example to kind of end the video off with to help make sense of how you should interpret sound in the film. So let's have a little quick look at this brief clip in a very well-known film, Jaws, and this will illustrate how sounds function. So that music we hear there, that typical sound that is attached to the arrival of the shark Jaws, that's a leitmotif. Okay, so it's recurring throughout the film, it builds suspense, and it makes the audience know in a very visceral sense that Jaws is coming to attack. And of course, it's a non-diegetic sound. Diegetic sounds would be the actual sound of the water or of Jaws arriving within the actual scene. This person swimming and the noises that makes, that's diegetic, but the music overlaid is non-diegetic. And of course, as I mentioned, it's a motif, it's recurring throughout the film, and thus is a leitmotif. I think we get the point. It's actually making me quite nervous, this music. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this clip useful in terms of how to tackle film. If you've got any questions, please do comment, like, subscribe to our channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like the content, subscribe to our channel and we'll have more videos coming your way.
That's right, guys. Thanks for watching. And please make sure you check out our online resource database. We've had a team of state rank achievers and heads of English put these together for you, covering everything from essay structures and examples all the way through to craft of writing and comprehension skills. So check them out at ignitehse.com.au, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.